Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Happy Monday, and we are here to start off a fresh week in the game, and we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, like, if there's any screw-ups or anything like that. We have the Fallen Dimension, regular, and Omega starting off later on today. I do feel that this week is a bit dry. I feel like Chapter 2 is a little bit dry. I mean, I gotta be honest, like, I feel like things are not as exciting as it was with Quasar when it started. We're on week 2. There are some data mines that we'll take a look at for week 3 as well, but overall I don't think it's just super exciting right now. Not that I want, so I kind of want more negative zone, but I just don't want it to be the every single day kind of grind. You know what I mean? It just feels kind of weird that they're giving us Fallen Dimension, and which is something that we've already done, right? They're literally copy and pasting the exact same content. I will be doing that later on today. Probably the Fallen Dimension Omega version, because this is just weak ass Teal Gear auto stuff. The Omega was hard at the time. I actually do remember this note here with the double Miss Marvel Classics, but now that they're farmable, this might be a lot easier since we're rocking, I don't know, 7 reds or diamonds or something like that for a lot of the characters, so probably won't be that difficult. I also want to talk about expectations for the upcoming raid. And I'm seeing a lot of people gear tier 20, a lot of random characters, especially those who are done the XAVIER saga. And I want to talk about raids, the Annihilation raid, right? And what we kind of maybe should be doing in preparation of that, which could be coming in a couple of weeks. So all that and more, let's boil this down. All right, so I don't have much here as far as the data mines go. I'm just going to start off with this for the beginning of the video here. So we have an update on the Sebastian Shaw Unleashed milestone, where it looks like you're going to be able to purchase points on August the 22nd, I believe, or at least I thought that the last data mine on this talked about August the 25th. So it seems like in about 11 days that you are going to be able to purchase those 75 shards that are in the milestone. For Sebastian Shaw, how much it is, I have no idea. Also, we have some data mines about the Broken King week 3, which is going to be next week because we're on week 2 this week. Earn gold, play Cosmic Crucible, and play Cosmic Crucible with Accursed, and then blitzing with Hellfire Club at G20 for, premium rewards. What's interesting about this, though, is we have the whole team. Well, Azazel and Rachel Summers at G20, and then Madeline and Emma at G20. And it makes me wonder if there's going to be a leaderboard event coming around this time, because usually these give, like, I don't know, fragments or of some sort, diamond fragments that might be useful for leaderboard kind of stuff. Also, there's going to be new milestones in the monthly for login 4 days, and collect costume credits. So that's kind of interesting, I guess. And then just flat Cosmic Crucible and Cosmic Crucible with Accursed. If that's something we have to do, I mean, I guess you could do a burner attack with some of the characters. Anyways, nothing too exciting, but maybe we'll have some more data mines later on this week. Okay, I wanted to start here a little bit in the blogs. Now, what I thought was really interesting was the timeline of the announcements of previous raids. Okay, so August 12th, 2024, not that long ago, actually, was the announcements of the Orcus raids, right? So that was previous to what we have now. And this was at a time where the teams of Orcus and Night Stalkers were just coming out, that kind of thing, where we got information of, fun fact, actually, this was the raid that actually, this is when I got removed from the Envoy program, because I data mined this fucking, this spaceship photo, right? And that's what, that and a couple of other things related to data mines is actually, anyways, I digress. It's just funny timing, because taking a look at that reminded me of that. So we had the Orcus and Orcus raid Omega, right? And so that was a thing there. But this was about basically, actually, you know what? It's basically like a year from now. I'm recording this August 11th, 2025, and we're basically a year on. Now, what I find kind of interesting was that it didn't really last that long, because then we had the announcements of the Chaotic Storm raids, and this was in March. Now, what was before Orcus? Was it Incursion? I think it was Incursion, but honestly, I can't remember now at this point. Let me know if you're a historian who can remember better than me in the comments down below. But the gap between Orcus raids and Chaos Storm raids was like, what is that? September 7-8 months, right? When they got the announcements for that. So this wasn't that long. And that is kind of typical progression systems. Like normally we're getting a progression system every 8 months. Usually we're getting a gear tier every 8 to 10 months, actually. It's not like a full year that we usually wait on these things. So that's pretty interesting too. The Chaos Storm raids. But now we're in August, right? Now we're back in August, and so it's been, just counting off the top of my head, like five months, right, since we've had the Chaos Storm raids. So it really feels like if we are getting the Annihilation raids, that it is just a bit soon, or they're pushing it faster than they were before. And so a lot of the questions that people are asking me, oh, looks like I forgot to do my spotlight. I'll talk about this while I'm doing my spotlight. And is it replacing? Is the new Annihilation Raids, is that replacing Spotlight, or is it replacing the Chaos Raids? That question I don't know. One thing that I do know is that there's going to be 3 difficulties, and Spotlight has 3 difficulties. So that makes me think that maybe it's a replacement to the Spotlight raid, and we're still going to have the Chaos Raids. Now, what do we know so far about the Annihilation Raids? We know that basically you are going to need all 5 teams. And by all 5, actually all 6 teams, sorry. We're basically removing Alpha Flight. Thank God for that, because I don't want to take them to 105. And then we're keeping Uncanny Avengers. And then we're also running the 5 teams from the Chaos Raids as well, or the 5 Origin teams, for a grand total of 6. And now that I think about it some more, I think it very well is just a replacement to this raid, because like I said, it doesn't make sense that they're going to be replacing the Chaos Raids so soon after 5 or 6 months. That seems a bit early. That being said, the rewards of this new Annihilation raid must have some good rewards, right? I mean, it's usually here what they said, but what are these called? The purple raids, right? They said the purple raids was likely going to be other rewards, like not the main progression rewards. So it makes me wonder what we're going to get out of this. From the data mines, it did say that we were going to get at least more G20. The question is, are we going to be getting, I don't know, purple 3? Sorry, not purple 3, purple 4, right? Because that's the next progression system, essentially, because we're not getting gear tier 21 quite yet. So are we going to get purple 4 on this new raid? That is the big question. But you are going to need the 6 teams. Now, just to go back a bit on the other difficulties, so basically D0 or D1 or whatever you want to call it, D0, let's call it D0, it's a free-for-all. That's the requirements for the nodes. D1 is an origin-based node. That's what I understand. And it's not until D2 where you actually are mandated those teams as far as the data mines go, right? That they're mandating new Avengers, Uncanny Avengers, Night Stalkers, where are we at? Vigilantes, Thunderbolts, Hellfire Club, and then unnamed team for tech, right? We talked about this in a previous video. So the question really is, are they condensing both into one? I don't think they are. I think now that I looked at it a bit more, it's going to be a Spotlight raid replacement. Now I don't know for sure, right? They could be condensing both raids into one raid and just giving lots of rewards. That could be because they're using the characters, the teams from the Chaotic Storm raid as well. It just feels like it's too early to replace it, unless they're going in a completely different direction. Why am I talking about that though? Because I want to talk about the squads, right? For raids. Also, for some reason, Hellfire Club is listed under an arena in the arena tab. They really need to get that fixed. But let's talk about raids, because I need to talk about why you should be holding onto your gear, I think, because we don't know how high you're going to need to take these characters. The current Chaos Storm raids are basically G19 105. There's nowhere to go other than up, right? As far as getting them to gear tier 20. Like, that has to be a given at this point for these new raids. But the question is, I don't really want to G20 most of these characters unless I'm getting good rewards back, right? Like I'm getting good amounts of G20 back in order to do this. I have to do it for simming, whatever it happens to be, right? Like, so these are my raid teams. Ignore Orcus because it's, maybe, you know what? Actually, I was going to say, if it's mandated the teams, we're not going to be able to use Orcus on the maximum difficulty anyways, because it's going to be the unnamed team, right? And that unnamed team, which I do believe is going to be some Hobgoblin-centered Spider-Verse villain team, right? And I think that makes sense that it's going to come in October, lining Halloween. Essentially, Zombie Kestrel plus this new tech raid team. That's what makes sense to me. And we're probably going to get this new raid by September. That way, you can't really 100% the raid until you actually get this new tech team, right? It's kind of the way that they blocked out Spotlight, that you had to have Alpha Flight. Wow. I guess in this case, Uncanny Avengers. I was going to talk about when they had Sasquatch was basically locking out the other Spotlight. But for this one, right, if you didn't have the full Uncanny Avengers, you weren't able to do 100% on those raids. You need to get rid of some of these older teams. So the question is, what kind of G20 characters do we already have, or are we already considering? And who would we don't? And what I mean by that is like kind of doubling with XAVIER Saga. A lot of people are using Blade and Oath in the city section. Some maybe are avoiding Oath, but I would still recommend doing Blade. Blade's a very powerful character. I also loved him in Danger Room, by the way. As far as Uncanny Avengers go, they're quite expensive. Storm and Beast, I think, are pretty expensive on gear. And but I have seen people do Jean Grey. That's fine there. For Vigilantes, I've seen a lot of upgrades, minus Elektra. Don't do Elektra. But I've seen a lot of G20s and Silver Sable, Daredevil, Punisher, and Hitmonkey and all that. And the Thunderbolts, yes, I screwed up on my Songbird, and I hate it for it. But, you know, maybe I will get some value out of that when these new Annihilation Raids go live. My star levels on the other characters are garbage. Victoria Hand and Hyperion's okay. My Victoria Hand shards are just really, really bad for some reason. Anyways, I wouldn't really recommend G20 any of these characters. So, what's my point? Also, we have Hellfire Club. The jury's a little bit out on this one because apparently they suck on Chaos Storm raids. But, you know, they're probably designed for the next raid. But if they suck on Chaos raids and that's not being replaced, and like hypothetically, if this new raid is running tandem or in conjunction with Chaos Storm raids and they can't do Chaos Storm raids, that's a big problem, right? And so this makes me wonder that, yeah, either that they're condensing 2 raids into 1, or this really is going to be a Chaos Storm raid replacement because they suck at the existing one, right? But as far as what characters you would G20 on this one, I've heard of people who have cleared Cosmic Villain with Azazel. I'm not too sure about Sebastian Shaw. I mentioned this in another video. My only problem is that he has a pre-taunt, and at low stars, this could get him killed, which could cause a problem for you getting a 3-star. In Global Villain. And that was my main thought process. And this team doesn't function healing-wise without Azazel and Rachel Summers to give Drain, of which Rachel Summers is in a different category for XAVIER Saga than these 3, and same with Azazel. So there is no draining going on standalone in Global Villain, at least for the Hellfire Club. So, concerns. So what I would recommend is, since we don't know a lot about what raid's getting replaced and what's going on with that, and whether or not G20 is a requirement, it's gotta be, right? Not a requirement to get in, but a requirement to clear it, because there's just nowhere to go up, right? There's no way that they're going to be making it the same requirements as the existing Chaos Storm raids, right? I don't see that being a thing. So, you know, for now, you know, I'm just not doing anything. I'm not spending any of my resources. Am I going to need to G20 Moon Knight? Maybe, right? Because if maybe I'm forced, because they're mandating the actual team tag from my understanding at the highest difficulty. So I might have to gear tier 20 Moon Knight. You know, it's funny because I ran into somebody in Cosmic Crucible who also had a gear tier 20 Moon Knight. I was like, do they know something that I don't? You know, so I think the best thing to do is honestly wait for further announcements. And I know that sucks for people who are trying to get through the XAVIER Saga right now. Like I said, some of this is safe, like the city section is definitely safe. But beyond that, if you want to double dip or min-max and use your gear on raid characters, as many as you can, also use them for the XAVIER Saga, well, you might want to wait to see whether or not we actually need it or not. I expect an announcement within the next 2 weeks. But I just want to kind of, this is just some things that are going on in my head, is that, you know, because there's a lot of uncertainty, I would normally caution people to just wait around and see what ends up happening rather than blowing your resources and regretting it later. That kind of thing. So I'm interested what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below, especially with regards to, are they moving from 2 raids to 1 raid and then just one big raid? You know, because of the fact that the requirements were also Uncanny Avengers, that kind of made me question about the future of raids in general in Marvel Strike Force. So that's it for now, everyone, and I'll see you guys all on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.